Welcome to another episode of Life Stories with Marty. I'm Marty here in Melbourne. You're going to enjoy this. Get your dancing shoes on. We have Louise DaCosta. Now, Louise is a Derry girl, beautiful Derry, and she's an actual international DJ, TV, radio presenter. She's got her own record label. So I'm just going to play a little bit and then we're going to cross over to Derry and hear it from the horse's mouth. You can read all the description at the front. Her new album, What's It All About? We'll see you on the other end.
Using words, always seeking deeper meaning. But my thoughts were fear-based and obscured. Best friends within our desolation. As the floorboards I was pacing, I said, what's this all about?
Louise, welcome to the show and thank you for coming on.
Hello, Marty. Thank you. Good morning from here. Good afternoon. Good evening to you.
Exactly. Good afternoon from here. And you're over in Derry, beautiful Derry.
Lovely Derry. Yeah, proud Derry girl.
Is that where you got the accent?
Can you tell?
No idea. I've been listening and we've just heard some of your music there at the start. I'm in awe of what you do. I think it's fantastic. I had a few hotels and lots of bands. I went to lots of bands in my hotel, like Aslan in Ireland, and different people that played in it. And I just love music. And then we used to have a function room which played a lot of what you play.
Oh, right.
Oh, I'll tell you what, I enjoyed that now. Yeah, it just went a bit late at night. We were licensed till 5 a.m. So.
But a raving and misbehaving, Marty.
Oh, no, I think I was the one. I think security kicked me out of my own pub one time. No. Yeah, it was. Yeah. Now, listen, Louise, just want to start off as we go into it. And the career that you've got is magnificent. I really admire what you do. Let's start off. Tell us a little bit about growing up in Derry, a little bit about your family, and then we'll dovetail into where what brought you and inspired you into your music. So I'm going to let you got the mic.
Oh, are you sure about that now? Have you got all day? Well, shout out to my lovely family. So yeah, I was brought up in lovely Derry. As I say, very proud Derry woman, and I think it's the best place in the world, a wee slice of paradise, and the people are the best in the world. And even though obviously we've been through the troubles and various things, the city's got a wonderful heart and are incredibly supportive. I know people talk about Irish begrudgery, but it's actually not something I've experienced. I must say, wonderful support from the hometown crowd. So as my career will attest to, because I actually started DJing whenever I was still at school, and sneaking out. I was telling you this previously off air, sneaking out to play in nightclubs at like sort of 17. And it kind of went from strength to strength from there. And I kind of was in at the deep end very quickly because there was some really good nightclubs in there at the time, and they had like really big acts coming over, like Calvin Harris and Benassi, and so world-renowned DJs. So at 17, I was just in at the deep end playing with all like these big stars. But I thought I was a star anyway, so it didn't really matter. It didn't fizz me. But
good guess.
But so as you can see about my lovely family, instilled an awful lot of confidence in me, even though I was sneaking out to do it. But so I kind of went from there, and I ended up sort of, if anyone's listening, maybe from the old raver days, not that I was playing back then, this is like not that long ago, but Kellys Portrush, I don't know if you heard of Kellys Portrush. It was like
yes.
Oh yeah, so it was a really I ended up being the resident there for a couple of years, and then in various clubs in Donegal and in Derry, and a good friend of mine, Carl, owned I think it was the Northwest only LGBTQ venue. Ended up playing there, so I ended up taking up a lot of residencies across like clubs all over sort of the north and Donegal, and then it kind of just exploded from there, and I started touring all over Ireland, and then from there I ended up getting booked to play all over the world. So I ended up touring Southeast Asia and the Middle East and Europe and all over the place really. And it was completely organic. It just took a life of its own. And I think I was telling you before, I did go to university, I did complete my degree and tried to go away from music for a time, but it just pulled me back, and it's been the best thing ever. Thank God.
Now, can I just rewind a little bit? Go back and tell us a bit about what it was like in school, as in when you grew up and what your family life, and you alluded there to the troubles in Derry. Did you see any, or how did it affect? I
Not
mean, we're
really,
not going
because
into political, but I'm just
well,
asking you that grew up there.
but to be honest, like I was well, I was born in the 90s, so I missed a lot of obviously all the problems that were there. Obviously, there's problems there was problems with deprivation in Derry and locality, but as was the time across Northern Ireland. So I gotta say that I lived probably a sheltered existence comparatively, you know, and I had a wonderfully supportive family that pushed me into education, although I let them down so badly by running off to do music. Thanks for that, fam. So I actually went to the Foyle College, which is it's a terrible thing to say in Northern Ireland, but you know they've got like mixed schools. So I went to a mixed school. And you know, I was just brought up that everybody's equal, and I was never brought up with any hate in my heart or sectarianism for anybody, or any of that. You know, so you know, I was totally blessed in that in that way in my existence. So I went to Foyle, and oh, Marty, I've got one for you then if you want. You want
Yeah.
something? I've got a gold medal in a sport, but you have to guess which sport. No, it's only a junior medal. I was a teenager, so
When you were a teenager, I would say, was it hurling?
no.
Oh God, now you're really embarrassing me.
It's
Back
a
in
solo sport. It's an individual sport.
running.
Well, do you know what? I wasn't a bad runner either, but I'll tell you, fencing. So I actually have a
Oh wow.
junior. So you better watch out. But a sword fighting. So little Zorro they call me. No,
It's all
but
right.
so you know I had a really great experience, and you know I was brought up with people from all different backgrounds. You know my family, my father's family is all from Derry, but my mother moved over from England, so so you know I had a really like an interesting experience growing up, and you know I just can't say enough about Derry. People used to always slag Derry off, but I just think it's the best place with the best people. I can't say
I've
anything.
been to Derry. I love Derry. What's that?
Ah.
What song? Derry Girl, I think it's called. It just is it Derry Girl?
Dairy Girls are the best, though. We do know this. And even
Ah,
for
yeah,
Lisa
and they got
McGee
the
did a
show
show,
on
you know,
Derry Girls. Yeah, they
Dairy
give it to
Girls.
you straight. And
Uh,
so, who inspired you to do the music? Like what
um,
you do, and you haven't just done the music, as I said on the intro. You're amazing.
well, Kate Bush. Kate Bush was a huge inspiration. Just to
Okay,
do
yeah.
anything. So I was just sort of flouncing around in a wee dress. No, I grew up in actually a very musical household. You know, my granddad was always playing music. My mum was always playing
Ah,
loads of music, but all kinds of music from. And then I must shout my big brother and my little brother because they're just brilliant as well. Huge influences. But everyone listened to kind of different music. My granddad would listen to opera. You know, my mum would listen to sort of Kate Bush, Romantic Joe, and my brothers would listen to like my younger brother acoustic stuff, my older brother stuff like a Prodigy. So like I just had every kind of music growing up, and I
yeah,
did
yeah.
play a bit of violin and piano, and I just did a wee bit of everything, like, but only stuck at it for 5 minutes. That's why I've only got one fencing medal, because as soon as I won it, I just didn't care. I shot on. But yeah, so musical influence. I actually wasn't. I didn't set out to be a DJ or anything like that. I actually went to a club, and I was doing photography. You know, interested in all sorts of things from photography to art. You know, and I was just over there, and somebody else was DJing, a friend of mine, and they went off for a break and were like, if anything goes wrong, press that button. And I was like, sweet, I can do that. I can press the button. That's DJing in a nutshell. I can press the button. But so they went off and I pressed the button, and then it was like, do you DJ? And I was like, oh, sure, I do now. And it kind of went from there. So it literally just went from there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And what was, I just want to know, because I can imagine you, I've listened to your stuff and I think it's brilliant.
Thank you.
Absolutely brilliant. Is and the way you're not just what you play, but you're an entertainer artist and you get the crowds going.
That's what it's all about.
Tell us the best gig you ever played, and then after that, tell me the worst one or something funny that happened.
Funny stories, you'd be here all day. I honest to God. Well, the best gig, there's so many. Like I totally buzz off a crowd interaction. I don't just go and play songs. Like it's like I'm having as much fun as the crowd is, and if they're not having fun, I'm not having fun, you know. So it's all about crowd interaction. It's all about, you know, what is it like? You know, that communal feeling of enjoyment and like expression, and you know, it's an escape for people as well. So I enjoy that, and it's all about just having the crack. Like that's what we're all about. So every gig is like a great gig to me, because I make
Are you different on stage than off stage, or do you switch
absolutely.
off?
Yes, I
You
absolutely,
go
yeah, absolutely.
and you're in a different Zoom.
Absolutely, yeah. I know. I actually was down. I'll not name any names in some of these stories, okay?
Yeah,
But I
that's
was
no, that's good.
I was down at a gig one time, and I was meeting the promoter, and they were there with some of the other like big international DJs were there, and we were down for a big freshers song, and I was like, "Hi," you know, because we're all checking on the hotel, and they were like, "Who's that girl?" And I was like, "Hi," and they were like, "Are you Louise DaCosta?" And I was like, "Yeah," and they were like, "You look like a fucking school teacher," and I was like, "Funnily enough, I almost was," but on stage, quite different. I'm a bit of a live wire anyway, but on stage, I really come into myself. One of my friends actually says 3 songs in. It's always 3 songs, and then you've got them. You know, once you're in, then and that's you, and then you won't see me till afterwards. But I just love it. But in terms of worst gigs, I've had loads of ones where I went to, and people were like, "Make sure and check your writer." I just like expect that if I send someone the information, it's usually done. And I was on like maybe a 6-date tour, with like a 1-day break, and went to the hotel to check in. And uh my mum actually was like, did you just make sure the equipment's there? My mum rang me as usual. Hi mum. Did you make sure the equipment is there? And I said, Jesus, it'll be fine. I'm gonna go for something to eat, never worry about it. She says, just check, you've never been there before. And I was like, all right. And I went down and I was like, sound check, sure. Where's the decks? Decks? Nobody uses decks anymore. And I was like, well, I do, and it's in my writer. And they were like, well, we'll try and get a pair of decks. Couldn't get a pair of decks anywhere because it was like an hour before the show starts. So I brought an old laptop and like one old deck in the back of the car that I had for ages, and went on and managed to set this up. It was a sold out night, and I had to like sort of like, you know, it was like the Wizard of Oz, pulling the ropes and things, trying to get the night going. But it ended up a great night anyway. So, you know, if you're enthusiastic and positive and you can somehow pull it together against all
And
technical
you
difficulties.
improvise very good.
Improvisation, yeah.
Yeah.
But Marty, I gotta tell you, the whole funny story about that was when I went in, the guy that was supposed to help me with the sound check was dressed as a priest. Believe it or not. And I was like, is he a priest? And he was like, no, I'm going to a costume party. And I was like, right, okay, it was just the strangest gig, but it ended up well. So
Oh, that's
so
brilliant.
mm.
That's brilliant.
So, but I can't say anything's ever been really bad, you know, and like obviously going away and playing like all the fabulous clubs out in Asia and the Middle East, and it's really like glamorous or whatever. No, nothing beats a home crowd. Nothing beats a home crowd.
And you were saying like even when you traveled, I've seen, well, people can see it on your description at the front, but you met a lot of Irish people in different going
Everywhere.
across. Did that make you feel comfortable, or were you know?
Always, yeah. Actually, like you know yourself, well, you're in Melbourne. There's Irish people everywhere, isn't there?
Oh
But
God.
even going to like Qatar and like Malaysia and like all these places where you don't expect to have a huge Irish contingent, you'd meet some boy like from down the road in Donegal, just like 5 miles from my house, and he'd come over and buy you a pint. I was like, great to see you. How's your mother? you know. So yeah, you get great support from all Irish people out everywhere. But yeah, there was even a show I did out in Doha a couple of years ago, and I was thinking, God, I don't know anyone in Doha. And then I met the son of a club owner I used to play for. And we came out and we spent all the time together out there, so it was wonderful.
Yeah, it's like over here in Australia when I had the pub, you start talking, and it was an Irish pub, English, and you got lots everywhere, Northern Ireland, everything. And they came in, and the first thing they go is, so you say, they go, how long are you over? Where are you from? And then when you say where you're from, or even if you say Ireland, they go, do you know such and such?
Always,
And you
always.
how would I know that?
Tribal mentality. Like you're always like five people from every person in Ireland. You always know someone that knows someone, isn't it?
Yeah, it's especially with the internet now, it's a very small world.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me more about this the label. While you started up your own music one, and I know you've done radio presenter and obviously your DJ, which we're going to play some stuff and a few photographs
Oh,
at the
thank
end.
you.
But tell me a little bit more, because I'm fascinated with your career and you're so young. It's
Thank you. Thank you for mentioning that.
that's
I
$10
know, thank
you
you.
owe me now.
I know.
Yeah,
There's that fiver.
there you go.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, well, basically, I don't know how much people know about the music industry, but it's an incredibly male dominated and increasingly so male dominated. Even though it's been democratized by technology, I'm just sitting in my own wee sort of studio space here, and I've access to everything now because it's been made easier because of that. But there's a
Yeah.
lot of barriers, and it is undoubtedly a boys' club. Um, but I just don't really care about things like that. I just get on with what I'm doing. I let people do whatever they're doing. But there's a huge misogynistic undertone. I actually wrote an article for some UK papers some years ago saying about this, and it was sort of deemed about it was a bit much, but it was all proven to be correct. So only 2% of producers in the music industry are women. And I can't say I've had any problems working with my labels or anything else like that. And it's in no sexist way for me. But if there's like 10 men in a room and you're the only girl, it just makes it maybe not the easiest situation, especially if you're young. And I was only in my early 20s. No problems with anyone ever. But you definitely didn't get taken quite as seriously as perhaps I should have been. But sure, that's the way it goes. And then you learn and you grow and you go and do it yourself. And that's what I would tell people. Be as autonomous as possible, because then you can control your own output. You can control, if you're using someone else or if you're working with other people, they can be a conduit for your thing, but that becomes a prison and you don't get what you're actually trying to do. You're not getting the essence of what you're trying to do. It's coming through someone else. That's great when you're learning and you need that assistance, no problem. But I would say you have to do as much as possible yourself, because then you're in charge of your own ideas and your own vision and your own success, and you own everything yourself. It's so important. So I work with loads of labels, and shout out to all of them. They were all great helps at the time. But when you're working with other people, particularly some of the bigger labels, you don't have any control about when your release is going out. You don't control the artwork. You don't control anything, and if they decide to shelve it for a year, there's nothing you can do, and you're sitting waiting. So and then also, there was a song I put out years ago that actually did quite well, made a lot of money, and I got my check back, and it was like 1% of what the song had made, and I was like,
What was
no,
it? What was the name of the song?
oh, I can't tell you that because I'll drop them in it, and I'm not trying to drop
No,
anybody.
no, 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 no. Okay, okay. I've got it
Uh,
already anyway. No,
I'm
I'm
just, I'm
joking.
just, I'll tell you off air, and
Okay.
it's no harm to people because that's just the way the music industry is set up. If it had been Sony, it would have been like that as well. So that's okay. That's the way it's set up, and that's how you learn. That's how they make their money, and that's how
Yeah.
they learn. But it's
Yeah.
it's not the what I would be interested in, because I like to keep doing things and moving forward and moving forward, and I just found that it left you kind of in a stagnant spot. So after working with loads of labels who were all great, thanks very much for the opportunity, guys. It helped me get to where I am today. After working with loads of labels, then I just decided to set up my own label. And I was coming up
Mm.
with all these names, and I was like doing Irish language names and Latin names. And everyone's, no one's going to get that. Just call it DaCosta something. And I was like, all right, because everyone will know who it is then. But
Yeah.
so yeah, so I started DaCosta Records in 2019, just before the pandemic, and it just really took off. And then there's a lovely lady called Abby Oliveira who's based in Derry. Wonderful spoken word artist. She actually features on my new album. She's incredible. She's an incredible talent. She actually came to one of my classes because I teach digital music production as well. She
Wow.
came to one of my classes and had this really, really cool album to release, but it wasn't appropriate for a dance record label. It's like a band, like a really cool kind of band kind of sound indie. And I says, well, I'll just set up another label then, sure, and we'll just put it out on that. And so then came DaCosta Rocks, which I launched a year later. So the two labels, we have over 350 releases, I think maybe nearly 400 releases now across the two labels in the space of sort of 5 to 6 years. And we've got played on Radio 1, BBC Sounds, you know, featured in, I don't know, The Guardian, Trax magazine, features everywhere. The support's just been phenomenal. So it's going really, really well. But it was just taking that extra like little risk and jump to go and do it yourself. So, but it pays off. So I would tell anyone, do as much as you can yourself, because it means you're in control of what you're doing.
I like what you're saying there, just you triggered in my head, because I obviously said no, a lot of people, yeah. It's easy for a man to do band, but when the fact that you do DJing,
yeah,
most people, and I've had hotels, I would be surprised, I never had to, a woman's coming in to DJ.
Yeah.
Was always the man. So I
Oh,
picked
yeah,
up
of
what you're
course.
putting down there, and that's
Well,
obviously give
people,
you a harder job to rise to where you are.
absolutely. Well, people used to be like, "Where's the DJ? Where's the DJ?" Now, bear in mind, it's like, 15 years ago. So like the landscape was quite different socially,
Yeah.
and people would be like, "Where's the DJ? Where's the DJ?" But I don't water off a duck's back to me. Do you know what I mean? I was telling you, I have an unbreakable brass neck, like, so I don't really care. But it just, obviously when you were younger, maybe it dented you a little bit more, but I just kept doing what I was doing, and I was happy doing what I was doing. I love music. Like, I eat, sleep, and breathe music, and getting the opportunity to play music and hang out with my friends and play all my favorite music was just the best buzz ever. It still is the best buzz.
I was going to
So
say, when do you get time to sleep?
I
You're that
don't
busy. I was looking at you. I would imagine, yeah, you probably lie with a pen beside the bed to come up with
I
ideas.
actually do.
Yeah, I
I mean,
do
no,
too.
my granddad was in yesterday, and I was just telling him about, it's much easier because he's 86 now. Hello, granddad, love you. But
Yeah.
I was just showing him my to-do list. So I said, I just do this every day. I do this in the nighttime. And he says, if I had to look at that, I wouldn't bother getting up. What, you're mad with a list like that? But I said, but it all gets done, so it's all cool.
Oh, you were
Um,
amazing.
cheapers,
Like,
thank you.
just, I mean,
I
now,
just
what's in the future for you? What's
um well,
what's your plan?
I I I I was primarily like my income and everything I did prior to the COVID was 99% live. That's where I made all my money. That's where I toured all year round. And then I also ran and promoted events as well. And it was great, and it was extremely lucrative, and it was super, super fun. And like, shout out to everyone I worked with over that time.
Yeah.
Wonderful. The clubs in Ireland, the clubs out in the East, the clubs in the Middle East, phenomenal. And the UK and Europe and everywhere else. I had a wonderful time. But when COVID happened, it absolutely, as you can imagine, flattened the industry, and it really hasn't come back in the same way. I ran a pile of nights last year. I run label parties as well, to give other people a platform. I ran
Yeah.
a pile of nights last year, and it was great. But and we set 4 sellouts, and we did a big Christmas show, and we did the New Year's Eve party for the BBC, so live broadcast for BBC,
Yeah.
BBC Northern Ireland. So that was all great. But this year, I've been doing. Last year I did some small films. I did some stuff for Queens. I did 3 independent films. But I've been trying to move into film and television. Do write music for that, because I'll probably try and flick this camera around to show you my setup. But I just write music like every day. I do write something, at least one track every day. So I've been moving into film and television, and I've just got I've written music for a BAFTA award winning BBC TV show that's coming out at the end of this month, and I've
Wow.
done 2 new films, and I have another small TV project and some ads coming up as well. So I've kind of moved into that as opposed to just doing live stuff, and it's brilliant. So that's kind of where my direction is going at the moment, writing for TV and film. And I've done a few adverts and done some stuff for American Airlines as well. So glorified jingle writer at this stage.
That's what I just said. Is you didn't get much sleep, but I love that you're so creative. I'm sure your mum and your family are so proud, and tell me something is what do you want to achieve at the end of, like, as I don't mean the end of your life now.
I know, sorry, I had time to go for that.
Yeah. Give me a rope. What's that? What's you've achieved already, and you're very modest. What's your goal?
Marty, you must be the only person ever to call me modest. I'll be wearing that little badge.
Oh, okay, well, I take it back. Yeah, okay. No.
Thank you. No, I would love to do more TV and film. I would love to. I really like to platform other artists I believe in, because I've just got an absolute. I'm sure you can tell, a well of confidence. I don't think twice about doing things. Even if I do, I'll just still go and do it, because what's the worst that happens? We're just here for a short bloody time. What the fuck?
I love that. Yes.
We're just, you know what I mean? We're here for 5 minutes, like, so make the most of it, enjoy yourself, and just and do what you gotta do, and be good to everyone, and so I like to platform more people. I'd like to I'll do more TV and adverts, just because it's a good revenue stream. It's great for raising the profile label. But in terms of things, see, as long as the people around me that are well and are happy, that's nothing else matters. That's it really for me. This is all great, and it's great for me and great for my silly wee ego, and it's great to keep me busy. But at the end of the day, that's all that matters, is the people you love. You're just walking each other home. So that's it to me, really.
Well, I would imagine, Louise, and forgive me for predicting, but it's not predicting, but assuming, but I reckon you went into this for passion, not money. Money always follows passion. And I can tell, and I've looked at a lot of your stuff over the last few days.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It's bursting out of me. Like, if I didn't do this, so I would go mad. So I'm really big into exercise. I'm really big into music. I'm into loads of things, and it just it keeps you busy in a really healthy way. Like, don't get me wrong, I like my wine, and I like the party too. But at the minute, I'm just very busy.
Yeah, no, but I know what you mean, and that's such good advice as well. And I do find, because I love dancing. I go to functions, and went to one recently with my friend that passed away, and he goes, there was like 50 women in there from 19 to 72. And he goes, you dance with everyone. And I said, gee, and he goes, even my wife, and you probably broke her hip. And I even dance with the guys. I couldn't care less. I dance. I just love music. Full stop. Love it.
I love music. I feel music. That's why I love the club. You can literally feel the music. It's so good. It's so cathartic.
Yeah. It's soothing, and it just takes you away from everything else when you're doing it. You said about earlier playing the violin. My granddad used to play the violin, and my mum used to sing.
Oh, lovely.
No TV. It was beautiful.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, they never let us put the TV on. If you put a TV on, it means you're not social. Yeah.
Very true. Very true. We wouldn't have the TV on until it was the news.
And when you were a kid, you would have been outdoors playing all the time, wouldn't you?
I lived on the beach half the time. We always went away. But see, when you say that, people think, oh, the beach is literally like 10 minutes from where I live. So it's Donegal is like the most beautiful place in the world. Like, I love Derry, but to go and sit on the beach in Donegal, and like I went down and recorded like soundscapes, like the waves and stuff down at like my favorite beach, and sampled that in songs. But beyond the scenery and being outdoors, I'm a real history buff, like and one thing people don't realize, if you ask me what I might do before then, I might end up doing history tours, because there's so much tangible history, just like literally all around us. And I'm talking like, medieval, ancient, mythological, all that kind of stuff. I was actually took a friend of mine, was over staying in Derry, and I was like, I'm sort of half an hour driving around. You can go and see St. Mary's Cross, which is like, I think, 1200 years old. You can go and see the grave of the Prince of Inishowen. He died in 465. Owen McNeil, and he was son or grandson of Niall of the Nine Hostages, and he died in 465 of a broken heart when his brother was murdered. And you can go and actually see that. It's in a little townland called Ishkaheen, just outside Muff, which is just outside Derry. And you can go and see that. Ishkaheen, I think it's pretty water, beautiful water. But you can go and see these things. Like, your history is all around you. You know, it's like, it would be hard not to be creative when you can like see and touch all you know, the wonder of life sort of around you like that. And you know, obviously Greening of Gaelic as well. You know, Greening, it's just like, that's literally 5 minutes outside Derry, if even. And you know, that's in mythological terms, that's where the king of the gods' son's buried under, and it's supposed to be the sun goddess's temple. But in real life terms, it was the seat of power for the McNeils, or then the O'Neills. So you know, there's so much to be like in wonder of and in awe of all around you.
And you mentioned Donegal. I love Donegal, and we had our friend on, my friend from Donegal, and his singer Daniel O'Donnell.
Oh, we love Daniel.
Daniel's absolutely beautiful.
Brilliant.
He's
such a credit to Donegal too. He's such a great man.
He's got a really good heart.
Aye.
Yeah, when he came on the show, I said, I know you, Daniel. He was introduced over here on Sydney Radio, and I said, I know you. And he goes, well, in 1984, I said, remember Scottish Bank? I said, you were going out with a girl there, and I was going out with a friend, and I used to go to Holy Club. He goes, oh, you were the loudmouth all the time. I said, that's me.
Well, well, that's I'm sure it was a backhanded Donegal compliment, will we say? But
oh no, absolutely no. It's a good man. I talked to Daniel. Yeah.
Well, I'm privileged to be on the same podcast as him. Daniel's great, and he's a great ambassador for Ireland.
Oh, and he's just a lovely man. Do you know what I mean? He's just a genuine, and like yourself. And the accent is getting me away. And I know my listeners are going to be listening to this. They're going to go, your mum will be going, I told you to talk slow again, didn't I? But,
sorry for everyone listening. My Derry accent gets worse.
Don't you dare do that. Now, listen, we're going to finish up shortly, but I want to know a little bit more now. Tell us what you've got. And I know you've got an album coming out or out.
At Astra, the new album's out at the moment. See, before I jump onto that, I must tell you, you were saying about a worst gig, and I must tell you about how good Donegal men are, right?
Yeah, go for it. We got plenty of time.
No, the gig was good, but the severe car accident after was bloody terrible. I was on a couple of bad smashes after gigs, right? But do you know the Glenshane Pass between it's like, I call it the big wall between Derry and Belfast. The Glenshane Pass, it was coming back up that way after a gig. And for some reason, it was all icy up there. We were on a too fast a car, rear wheel drive, I'll say no more, and off the Glenshane Pass, which is, if anyone knows where that is, you might put a picture of it, went off that, and only by like the good man upstairs himself, went off the side. The car got caught in the barbed wire, and it was like hanging off over the edge, and so the two front wheels were hanging off. I was fine, like I was I'm like, everything's grand, don't worry about it. But I wasn't driving, thank God. The driver,
you were grand. I'm hanging off a cliff, but I'm fine.
Like, don't worry, it'll be fine. But the driver was really, really stressed out, as you'd imagine. Also because it was their car. So I was like, oh, it'll be okay, don't worry. So we had to like climb out the windows and then climb up this fence. And it was like snowing. It was, I don't know, 4:30 or something in the morning. It was stupid late. And lo and behold, what pulls up? A van with two Donegal men in it. And not only did they put us into the van, we got a heat, give us a cup of tea, and then pulled the car out and over. So, well, God bless them. I tried to get in touch with them to like say thanks, and I never was able to find out who they were.
They'll hear you now on the show.
If you hear me now, if anyone knows them, if anyone knows them, there's like 2 tickets and a big bottle of wine there for you boys. But they pulled us out. Otherwise, we might have like froze to death on top of the Glenshane, or you know, went over the side.
It will be a long way from emergency services, and you probably didn't have reception.
the reception up there is actually terrible, but they managed to get in contact with a recovery vehicle, and then the recovery vehicle managed to get in touch with something. So it ended up okay. Like, but it was a bit hairy. But I was dressed in my usual like my stage clothes. So I was wearing like a really cool like glitter ball dress, and I was like having to climb up this barbed wire fence at sort of 4:30 in the morning. And I was like, what are we going to do? This is a nightmare, because we couldn't even get into the car to stay warm. And like 2 minutes later, two angels from Donegal. There you go.
Isn't it? That's it. That is a brilliant story. You're nearly making me choking there laughing at that, because I can imagine. I keep taking the car over the cliff, and
It was like Jurassic Park. Do you know when the car's hanging over? And I was like, is this actually happening? Loads of times I'm like, is this actually happening? Just radical acceptance. It is happening. Let's just deal with it. And just climb up the barbed wire fence. I suppose I could still have a scar in that arm there, but we were grand.
oh my God, Louise! Now give me another couple of stories, because I know my listeners are going to be annoyed if I end the show, because you're a character.
Yeah.
Give me some story. I don't care what they are. It's yours.
Well,
the microphone is yours.
Open floor. Well, I was down as usual, and I always take someone with me to a gig as well, just so you've got, well, you know, someone to do photographs, or just to keep an eye on things, because like it's hard work traveling yourself. And God bless my poor tortured brother, she had to take me everywhere for a while, but I always had someone to go with me, and I took a booking anywhere when I was younger. I did not care where it was. It could have been the devil's backyard, and I was there. I was going to play. Thanks for booking me. I'm so excited. Do you want to hear my music? And they arrived at this club, and the guy picked us up, and he was like, "Look, if anything happens tonight, just hide in the DJ box, okay? Don't come out of the DJ box until we come and get you." And I was like, strange thing to say, but okay, I'll listen to you. And he goes, "This is where I got stabbed last weekend." And I was like, right. My friend was like, why the F did you take this booking? What are you doing? I said, they paid me good money. I'm happy to be here. Like, they wanted me to come and play. I'm going to play. And we went into the nightclub, and the only way I can describe it is it looked like an old swimming pool from the 1970s. I don't know what it was. It was not a nightclub, like. And then there was a little bit of a scuffle, and then it was hide in the DJ box until we break up this fight, and one of the bouncers has not turned up. So it was a wee bit of a hairy night, but it still ended up grand. You know what I mean? It always ends up grand, and I didn't get stabbed. So a win is a win.
Oh my God. I hope one day I get to see one of your shows.
They're not all like that, by the way. They're usually lovely. This was like whenever I was like 23, and I
No, I think we know that. You're not trying to say, oh, don't come to mind, there might be a stabbing. No.
I didn't actually check the venue out. Like they didn't even seem to have a Facebook page, which probably should have been an indicator that it wasn't a proper nightclub. However, I was just glad to go and get playing. But
I was going to say, when you're younger, you're happy to take a job and get a gig to get yourself.
You're just happy to go and play anywhere, like. But I must say, some of them were amazing, and like some of the best ones. I just tell you before I chat the head off you was like played out in Marini's in Kuala Lumpur, which I think is on the 57th floor on Merdeka Eve, which is their Independence Day. And you know the Petronas Towers, it just like is right beside that. So we were able to like watch all the fireworks going off for their Independence Day. Phenomenal evening. And anyone that knows their DJ stuff, we were there with Felix the House Cat, who's a really, really big DJ from back in the day.
Yeah.
So like there's some fantastic experiences and some crazy ones, but the majority of it is sweet. They're always cool in the end.
Well, as I said to you earlier, Louise, is I'm picking up everything you're putting down. I can imagine it almost in my head. And with bands, and I had, I don't know if you know the Irish band Aslan.
Of course, yeah.
I had them at my hotel in Port Melbourne.
Amazing.
And it's funny, they would come as guests, they turn up in a limousine, we cut off the lounge room.
Lovely.
For them, the restaurant, for them, and they came in, and they were supposed to, they said, we're just coming in for an hour. And Christy, he ended up on the phone with my mother in Ireland because she loved them. And he was on the phone for 14 minutes. And it ended up at 7 o'clock in the morning. They were all still asleep on the floor, and they were jamming and just singing. And even if you didn't, the bar staff were singing. And it was so cool. And I've experienced that with a lot of bands and DJs. I think it's a lovely community environment.
It is, it is. Everyone tends to be on a very similar wavelength. No, the authentic ones anyway all tend to be on quite a similar wavelength. It's a good sense of community.
Yeah, yeah. Look after. So listen, we're going to have to finish up, but I want you, especially, and I don't use the word in, as a female, like we were talking about, give some advice, because I've got a step daughter. That's right. I can't keep up with them. When the kids ring, I go, "Which one are you?" And is give them advice. She does DJ and she plays drum.
Does she?
And the way you speak is amazing. So give some advice to young people, but specifically aiming at the women, as we were talking about.
Well, what I would say is, you know, control as much of it as you can yourself. You know, get a wee idea of what you're about, what you want to play. I mean, I do all sorts of things, but you know, it's easier to sell, you know, a set or a package, um, if if people know what they're buying. You know, a lot of the times I turned up for things, people just booked me as a name and they didn't really know what I was going to play. Or, you know, I actually got booked for a techno festival one time and I didn't have much techno with me. So, you know what you're going to do first, and that'll make it easier for you for a start. Learn as much as you can yourself. You know, compared to whenever I was starting out, the resources on the internet are phenomenal. And also, if you've any questions, hit me up. I'm always there for anybody listening. I'm more than happy to give any advice that I can about either the music industry or DJing or any of that kind of stuff. But know what you're about. There's so much you can learn online now. There's free resources available, and just be confident in what you're doing, and practice, and get your confidence up about it. But also, just like I was saying about going to gigs like that, just go, just go for it. You don't have anything to lose, and sometimes it'll not be great, and sometimes it won't work out just the way you expected, but the next one will be better. And you just keep going and going, and over time you don't even notice. You know, it's a compound trajectory. You know, you do this and it takes you up, and you do this and it takes you up. So I would just keep progressing, and if you're passionate about it, you can't lose, because you're doing what you love. That's what I would say.
Louise, you're amazing. Now, when are you going to bring out a book?
I was going to say I must get a signed copy of your book when it's coming out. I don't know about a book now, but my new album's out, so I have to give that a plug. Otherwise, I'll get shot.
You have to, but you're amazing the way you talk. I really,
thank you.
I really admire what you're saying, and I know it's inspirational for other people. I've learned so much, and I spoke to you before this, but you're up and go. I call it women power. You inspire anyone to do it, and I'm going to wish you. I'm going to finish off with some photographs and some of your music.
And can I give my wee album a wee plug, Marty? Just my new
album. No, go for it. Go for it.
My new album at Astra is out now on all platforms, and it features some of the finest spoken word artists on the island of Ireland. So we've got Frank Rafferty, Abby Lavera, Gavin McFadden, George Hutton, Grace Day, and Mairead Carroll, and never mind me as well, but check them out. They're phenomenal artists, and they really deserve a shout as well. And also, you'll see the title track of the album on a new show. It should be in Australia as well. I'm pretty sure it is, on BBC One at the end of the month. So thank you, and thank you so much, Marty. I really appreciate you.
No, we'll make sure we put that up, and we'll put up on the description at the front the connections of people. Our listeners in Australia and here and all over the world can contact and go direct and listen to your music.
And we're also accepting demos to our record label as well, but to both labels. So they're open for demos. So the email is DaCostaDemos@gmail.com. So if anyone wants to reach out, and as well, if your daughters or anybody listening wants to reach out for any advice, I'm more than happy to help. You know, and as I would say, you've only got one. You know, we're only here for a really short time. Go and enjoy it. Go and do it. You know what I mean?
You're absolutely amazing. I could talk to you for 2 or 3 hours. If I could cancel my next podcast, I wouldn't continue and do a double one. But that would be a bit rude of me.
You're probably sick of listening to me now already.
Oh, no. That's what people say about me. No. Listen, honestly, Louise, just amazing. I mean that sincerely. And we're going to put up your contacts, and I want our listeners, and I thank our listeners here in Australia, New Zealand, and all over the world. and to follow Louise. You can contact everything. And at the end of the show, after this, we're just going to stay on. You can listen to some more music. And believe me, you will enjoy this. And the video podcast will be out, but also the audio. And listen to hers, this podcast, with her music in your car, on the plane, going for a jog, and
Marty.
just enjoy it.
And can I just give a shout out to my wee niece who is living in Melbourne at the moment?
Oh, you did say, yeah, no, shout out,
Yeah.
what's her name?
Aria. So hello, Aria, from your
Aria.
Auntie Louise. Lots of love. And
Aria, she shouts that, and you are very lucky. She is an amazing woman.
I'm the lucky one. She's a darling. So thank you so much, Marty. You're a gentleman.
Absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
And we'll hopefully we'll come back later or another year, and I'm sure you'll be on, or we'll be watching you on the TV on some shows, and because I don't think there's any stopping you, and that's my opinion. I think my listeners, when they get off, would agree with that. Your ambitions are as high as you want to make them.
Well, thank you very much, Marty. That's very kind of you. Thank you.
Please have a lovely evening, and thank you to our listeners, and watch this on Life Stories on our main channel, moralinjuryinternational.com. Just follow the links to YouTube, and you can listen to the video and the audio podcast, and we'll see you on the next episode. Good night, Louise, and thank you.
Thank you. Bye now.
A pleasure.
Black hole, black field, because the fire fuel